So, welcome to the presentation about our evaluation report of Kakaopay. I will start with the introduction, and then my team members will give more information about the IPO launch and our findings from the different analyses. In the end, we will present our suggestion. Kakaopay is part of the Kakao Corporations Group, which was founded in 2006. Kakaopay itself was launched in 2015. The major service of Kakaopay is to conduct payments directly on the smartphone and to either send or request money with KakaoTalk. In the meantime, Kakaopay has expanded its services with several other financial services. The linked bank to Kakaopay is the Kakao Bank, which is South Korea's first internet-only bank. The application of Kakaopay has more than 36 million monthly users, which is more than 70% of the total population of South Korea.
All right, let's next talk about the IPO launch of Kakaopay. Kakaopay seek $1.28 billion for its IPO compared to the second largest IPO this year, which was Kakao Bank at a valuation of $2.3 billion. The price per share was supposed to be at 96,000 Korean won, but they had to cut the target by 6% because they thought they couldn't get that. Furthermore, Kakao Corp is holding a 55% stake, while Jack Ma and Group from China is holding a 45% stake. The main underwriters are Samsung Securities, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs. So why did Kakaopay get valued this high? Investors saw a lot of growth potential for fintech companies in general, and the company already experienced rapid growth in subscribers using KakaoTalk. So by 2020, the subscriber count totaled 35 million users, and the total money transfer volume surged a total of 67 trillion Korean won, whereas the estimated target for the years to come would be 100 trillion won. This would roughly be an increase of 50%, so stakes were really high. Let me just move this over here. The PB ratio was 7.34 as a multiple versus the comparable of non-fintech firms with a PB ratio of about 1.6 times. The reasoning behind this is this extraordinarily high PB ratio was to be reasoned by the company's advancements in the AI technology sector, the user-friendliness with KakaoTalk and having everything compact in one platform. And they also had all the user data, which was highly valuable. And they could also keep costs low because there was no need for actual stores in the region or anywhere in South Korea because it's Kakaopay.
From now on, I'll introduce 5 phases of e-payment industry. The first thing is that threat of entrance that will be low because it has pretty high entry barriers. And the second, bargaining power of buyers. In this case, they have only few choices of payment processors, but they offer many payment options to customers. And the switching cost of changing payment is pretty low, so we think it will be moderate. And the third thing is that the bargaining power of suppliers. They have small switching cost, and there's no other substitutes except suppliers' products, so the bargaining power of suppliers will be high. And threat of the substitutes will be low because the other payment methods such as cash or direct deposit is low. It's now lost competitiveness from e-payment. Lastly, rivalry among the industry will be high because not only the global competitors PayPal and Google Pay in Korea's industry, they also have Toast and Naver Pay, so it will be high. Let's discuss about the Kakaopay SWOT analysis. They have strength in this because they have strong positions in Korea, and they provide high level of security, and simplicity is their very strong point. But they also have weaknesses such as limited users in Korea, and there are several technology challenges. But they also have opportunities like they can attract more customers through KakaoTalk. The threat factors could be competition with existing rivals, and also new entrants with high technologies.
Possible competitors of Kakaopay include Naver Pay, Toast, and Samsung Pay. We conducted competitor analysis focusing on Naver, one of Kakao's strongest competitors. Kakao has maintained the co-representative system of Yeominsu and Joseon for 4 years until most recent February, but Nam Gung-hoon was named as the new CEO in March. The current CEO has a special relationship with Kim Bum-soo, the founder of Kakao. He is from Samsung SDS, in common with Kim Bum-soo and Naver's Lee Hae-jin GIO. He worked as a representative of Kakao Games and succeeded in IPO by dominating the mobile game market. He is showing aggressive investment DNA by increasing investment in the digital healthcare market, which has recently begun to grow rapidly. In Naver, Han Jong-suk CEO is considered to be the main character in converting Naver from web to mobile. However, like Kakao, CEO Choi Soo-yeon was appointed in March this year at the young age of 40. She is currently strengthening global business and changing generations. Improving the organizational culture through communication seems to be her main task. To compare the aspects of R&D expenses of several companies, we should not simply compare the total expenditure because the size and sales of companies are different. Among Kakao Group, Kakaopay's R&D expenses rose about 89%. This is highest growth rate among Kakao Group listed companies. On the other hand, Naver Pay is not within the group like Kakaopay, so it is difficult to directly compare the R&D fields. Therefore, we compared Kakao and Naver groups. Last year, Kakao had 21 R&D projects and Naver had 133 projects. R&D expenditures based on sale are also revealed to be about half of Naver's. Here, we can see the difference in the direction between Kakao, which directly weighs on increasing profits through advertising, targeting, and efficiency, and Naver, which is caring about various projects in all directions. Finally, we tried DuPont analysis. For data on ROE and profits, financial indicators found in Naver security were used. For the financial indicator included in the balance sheet, referred to reports disclosed in the electronic disclosure system of Financial Supervisory Service. Despite the unification of monetary units, the multiplication of the three values is not completely consistent with ROE. Therefore, we interpreted each variable independently. Kakaopay's ROE is negative, but it continues to rise and experts predict that it will return to positive this year. Net profit margins are also improving compared to 2 years ago. Kakaopay's total equity has risen more than 30 times in 3 years. Therefore, it can be interpreted that the business outlook and operational stability are improving apart from Kakaopay's recent stock price volatility.
Hi everyone, welcome to the presentation. So our first trial we did was to run return on equity against the PB ratio. And doing that regression, as you can see on the screen, we got a bad result with a p-value of 0.11. And this is considered insignificance because we failed to reject the null. And we also used the outlier in this case, which gave us some errors. Moving on, we used the expected return on equity for 2023, and this was also a really, really bad regression because the p-value actually increased here, 0.43986, which is really, really bad. So we needed to do another trial, which is comparing the PB ratio to the growth sales. And we can see here, finally, that the p-value is 0.03, which means we can reject the null, and we have statistically significance. And the standard deviation of the residuals here is 0.05, which anything above the upper line is considered overvalued, and anything underneath the line, lowest line, is considered undervalued, and everything in between is a hold. So in our case, we have overvalued sell. Why? Because the expected growth sale for Kakao is 7%, and the PB ratio today was 7.1, and this means that if you look at the chart, we can see that the point's gonna end up somewhere all the way up here, which means clearly it's overvalued, and the fair value we got was 9,000 Korean won. Why? Because the book value of equity is around 0.7, or the PB ratio, sorry.